Well, a very good Sunday afternoon to you watching KTN Weekend at 1. My name is Najma Ismail. Now, campaigns for the vacant Bonchari parliamentary seat came to a close yesterday as candidates threw in their final efforts to try and secure a place in parliament. IEBC is busy putting final touches ahead of voting that will take place tomorrow as politicians from CORD, Jubilee and other parties lobbied residents to give them a hearing. KTN's Fred Omulo is in Bonchari from where he brings us this story.
Nyanza's most competitive county in politics is once again in the grips of a contest, and all the big guns have pitched tent here to further their agenda. The MP that residents elected in 2013, Zebedeo Opore of Ford People, was unseated through a court petition that replaced him with Kanu's John Oyoka after 6 months, only for Opore to appeal and have a by-election proclaimed. Somehow ODM awarded their nomination to John Oyoka, pushing their candidate Charles Onyancha into wiper.
Have 5 locations, and I'm the only one accepted in all the locations. Everyone else is a sectional leader, so I'm very confident of winning by a landslide.
Well, I'm feeling on top of things, considering what I've done with my team in the campaign. And actually, I'm very happy that Jubilee has come out very strongly to support me, and that is a boost for me and for the people of Bonchari. You know the people of Bonchari for a long time. I've been lacking development record for those who have been there before.
The contest has attracted the interest of powerful figures in both sides of the political divide, with a rejuvenated ODM sparing no effort as TNA and URP chose to campaign for the Ford People candidate.
I believe in Mheshimiwa as a leader who's astute, who's a leader who the people love, is a leader who won this election, and elections are not won through the courts.
The former Gusii party has been slowly reclaiming its space in Kisii County, and Jubilee is keen to identify with it.
Thing that could have gone wrong in Bonchari has already gone wrong in terms of education, in terms of employment and all that. And we actually think that this is the best time for Bonchari to have a new leader, a leader who will bring in change.
Other parties that have fielded candidates in the contest include KNC, KSC, DP and KLP. As a result, the IEBC is taking no chances and was punctual in its preparations this time to forestall any difficulties that may arise in the next 36 hours. This by-election is turning out to be the first true test of strength between the rejuvenated CORD coalition and the Jubilee administration. TNA's decision to immerse itself in Gusii politics and specifically the campaigns for this constituency are likely to shake up the popularity of CORD leader Raila Odinga in this region. Fred Omulo, KTN, Kisii County.
Well, we now join Fred Omulo via phone link. Good afternoon, Fred.
Good afternoon, Najma.
Now, today there will be the dispatching of the ballot papers. What other preparations are going on?
Well, the IEBC is currently putting the final touches to the dispatch process. The presiding officers for the different polling stations have been summoned to the tallying center, which will be at Itiero Boys here in Bonchari. They are about to start the process, which is going to begin at around 2:30. And they are basically targeting the 81 streams that are now in the 65 polling stations. They have a total of 39,000 registered voters, and going by previous by-elections, probably about 50-60% of these will turn up. Though the competition that has been witnessed here over the last 3 months signals that probably you could see a higher turnout than that in the elections.
And unfortunately, I have to ask you about this. How is the security ahead of the by-elections tomorrow?
Well, the security is basically normal. This part of Bonchari, this part of Kisii County is Bonchari that neighbors Homa Bay County, is pretty much a local town that you'd find in any other part of Kenya. You don't see too many policemen patrolling, and there haven't been many security scares here, apart from a few years ago when the Sungu militia used to rule the roost here. They are quite strong in this part of the county. They have coalesced around some of the candidates in this by-election, and I think they've sort of come to a peace pact. Yeah. So they're maintaining the peace, keeping the campaigns going, but they are avoiding any security scare that may attract the attention of the national security apparatus.
And how is the mood? Are maybe the supporters, are they, happy about tomorrow? Are they looking forward to go to the polls? Or people are just like, let it come and go?
There's a sense of weariness here because they've had 2 MPs in 1 year. It's really funny compared to other parts of the country. The first MP, Fort People's Zevedeo Pore, served 6 months, and the court overturned his victory, gave it to John Oiro Oyoka, and then Opore appealed and the by-election was proclaimed. So both of them have served 6 months each. The CDF has basically stalled because of these court battles between these 2 candidates. There are a lot of intrigues, and Jubilee is deeply interested in seeing the Fort People candidate clinch this seat. CORD is deeply interested in seeing John Oyoka capture this seat. So there's intense competition right here. Actually, right now, I am at Segeta in Suneka. Suneka is the biggest township here.
Yeah.
And our Segeta boys, right now, all the candidates have come here for a mass. There's a Catholic mass going on here, open-air mass. And they're basically keeping the peace. They are avoiding campaigns, as today they're not supposed to be campaigning. I've seen of them, they are all seated here. And the people have really come out in numbers just to hear what they might say, though they are not allowed to campaign today. Yesterday, the whole constituency was active from corner to corner, different teams campaigning in different places. So there's a real mood of, let's finish this off, have our MP, even if it's just for 3 years, let's get on with it.
Thank you very much. Fred Omulo there in Bonchari, and he will be giving us details in our subsequent bulletins. Now, we move on. The fight against poaching seems to be falling on deaf ears as 2 suspected poachers were gunned down early yesterday in Tsavo. KWS officers spotted 4 armed gunmen who declined to stop even after the officers prompted them to finally there was a bitter exchange of fire which eventually led to the death of 2 poachers. The police managed to recover 1 AK-47 rifle with 10 rounds of ammunition from the suspects, who are reported to be the most wanted poachers. The area is notorious with poachers, and in the last 1 week, 5 suspects have been killed with deadly weapons being recovered.
Poaching has been a menace, and we've declared total war on poaching activities. We shall not relent, and we are working as a team. It's a warning to whoever is intending to move within these national parks with malicious intention of poaching, that they will meet the full force of the law.
Now, aimed at reducing environmental risks and ecological scarcities for sustainable development in the country, the Ministry of Environment, Water and Natural Resources, together with development partners worldwide, held consultative meetings in the coastal region. The coastal cluster consultations brought together county representatives from 6 counties in the region who gave their ideas on employment opportunities and open and competitive markets on the green economy. This comes a day before the first session of the United Nations Environment Assembly, which will convene tomorrow morning. Among the main agenda will be focus on green economy and illegal trade in wildlife sector.
Na mambo mbalimbali. Kwa hivyo tunaangalia tu chochote tunachofanya, iwe tunajenga viwanda, ziwe ni viwanda ambazo ni masafi, hazihadhiri mito na mabahari na vitu kama hizo. Ikiwa tunajenga mahoteli kama hizi kwa national parks, ziwe tunafanya kwa ile njia ambao bado zinazidi kukuza hizo maparks, ziendelee kuchunga future generation, lakini vile vile kwa wakati huu zitupe economic benefit ambao itawapa watu vijana, kila mtu atafurahia kikazi.
It's go down to the local mwananchi to ensure that whatever we are doing in terms of economic development, whether it's agriculture, small scale agriculture, whether it's fishing, whether it's farming, you must put into consideration the environment in totality. you must consider and think about the future. You must look at what will happen, your action, how your action will affect national resources. It's not only big industries, it's not only big government projects, it's also even small scale projects that we are doing in the communities. It's to ensure that as we achieve our Vision 2030, as we achieve our development targets and growth, we do not compromise our natural ecosystems, the base from which we all grow.
Kenya's Irene Koki-Mutungi was in April certified as Africa's first female captain of the aviation industry. Current sensation Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Michael Karanja spoke to her recently on a trip from France.
The Boeing 787 Dreamliner takes off from the Charles de Gaulle Airport on its 8-hour journey to Nairobi. At the helm of Kenya Airways' new machine is a woman who has broken many records in the aviation field. Captain Irene Koki-Mutungi is a woman of many firsts. She is the first woman on the African continent to captain the newest plane in the market, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. The promotion to fly the plane comes after she broke another milestone after becoming the first female pilot at Kenya Airways to captain the Boeing 767, which the airline is slowly retiring to be replaced with the Dreamliners. For Captain Mutungi, it has been a stellar rise in the field of aviation. It should then not come as any surprise that from the age of 17, she started her flying lessons at the Kenya School of Flying, later to Oklahoma City Flight School, that she is a pace setter for other African women.
From a very young age, I was exposed to flying. My dad was a pilot with Kenya Airways, and from about the age of 2, we would fly with him and he'd let us come into the cockpit occasionally. And from way back then, I developed the interest and knew that I wanted to fly.
Her achievements ultimately paved the way for her to be named Africa's first female captain of the Dreamliner, something she holds in high regard.
I consider myself an ambassador for Africa. We come from a very ambitious continent, and where people, both men and women, know that the sky is not the limit. And we have a lot of people in their particular fields of excellence who are leaders in what they do. I consider myself one of those leaders, and I'm proud to be one of those leaders, an ambassador for Africa.
In a male-dominated field, it hasn't been all smooth sailing for the captain. It is, however, this grit that gave her the zeal to aim even higher. Captain Mutungi is leading the cultural revolution in the aviation field, breaking barriers to allow more women to give flying a chance.
Aviation has been a bastion for men over the years, and it's changing, especially in Kenya. We now have 39 women in Kenya Airways amongst 400 pilots. Ratio-wise, that's quite high, amongst the highest in the world. So we're setting an example and we're heading in the right direction.
But it's not always business for the captain. Like most women, she does enjoy a bit of pampering.
While I'm relaxing, I do pray and meditate. I'm a spa queen, I like spas. And occasionally I do try to play golf and horse riding.
For now, her eyes remain ever glued to the future, and who knows where Captain Mutungi will end up. Michael Karanja, KTN.
Well, once again, congratulations to Captain Koki-Mutungi. Indeed, the sky is not the limit. Now, Kenya joined the world in marking Refugee Week in Kakuma refugee camp, where the past years has seen a 70% increase in refugee population. The Turkana governor, Josephat Nanok, now wants the government to gazette land in a new area for the expansion of the camp. KTN's Joy Doreen Bureau reports on the current state of Kakuma refugee camp.
At Kakuma refugee camp, different nationalities brought together by unpleasant circumstances in their countries of origin mark World Refugee Day. But behind these smiles is the pain of families separated from their loved ones, like 21-year-old Rebecca Nyandik, who has lived in Kakuma for the last 8 years.
Mamangu alikufa, babangu hayuko, sijui alienda wapi, fighting ya Sudi huko. Akaenda, sisi tukakuja hapa. Grandmother akakuja na sisi, tuko na yeye hapa, yeye haoni hata.
Kakuma camp, built to temporarily serve 100,000 refugees, now has over 170,000 refugees, a number that can be explained by South Sudan's December 2013 conflict that saw millions flee their homes for safety.
Not to expand the existing one, but to look for an alternative site. Yeah, I'm very happy here because we are free here. Even if you go to Lokyokyo, nobody can even attack you.
U.S. Ambassador Robert Godek, who was among the envoys visiting the camps, urged Kenya to respect and observe its obligation to respect rights of refugees. This was in an apparent response to government's directive that all refugees should go back to camps and not be found in urban areas.
We have been working to increase the number of refugee groups eligible for resettlement, nationalities resettlement.
Watu ambao mnatoka sehemu mbalimbali au makabila mbalimbali mnaweza kuishi pamoja kwa amani.
The United Nations High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR, points out that while it has a mandate to ensure refugees return to their home with dignity, there are challenges in the process.
For the past 6 months, we've received close to 40,000 refugees from South Sudan. The land that was available for about 25,000 people, and therefore there is a need for additional land.
10 years ago, each community lived differently, independently in their own blocks, and today the communities actually live as integrated, irrespective of where they are.
The three largest populations of concern planned for in 2014 under the Kenya operation are asylum seekers and refugees from South Central Somalia, South Sudanese and Ethiopians as a result of human rights violations and conflict.
Welcome back. Some legal experts are now proposing that convicted prisoners serving life sentences should not actually be behind bars for the rest of their lives. As confusing as this may sound for some, the judicial fraternity is paying keen attention to the reason behind this proposal. Take a look.
The dance temporarily takes them to a world where all is rosy and bright. A break from the prison rigmarole they serve each passing day. The reality of the life sentences that has cut them off from the rest of the world is for the moment forgotten. Despite the seeming finality of their prison sentences, however, hope and desperation leaves in equal measure. Some of them believe the justice system has been unjust. Today, the legal experts and judicial officers have joined them for a sensitization meeting.
There should be a separate way of dealing with life sentences and another that administers the power of mercy.
So that if you come into custody for 10 years you are of good behavior, then under that system what will happen is okay, you served your 10 years, you have paid your debt to society, and now when we look at you, you are sufficiently reformed, we can send you home.
We know crime is being committed. We know crime has to be punished. But we also believe that the punishment should be proportionate and the justice system should be working at optimal levels.
There has been an outcry by prisoners that incarceration of an individual for the rest of his natural life does not serve the purpose of correcting them. The Kituo cha Sheria has prepared a proposal that could see inmates sentenced to life imprisonment serve only a part of such sentences behind bars. One could then be released into the open society, but remain constant monitoring.
So anything that goes beyond correction and rehabilitation goes beyond the mandate of the Kenyan Prison Service as presently constituted, and I beg to say that it might as well be ruled unconstitutional.
Kenya's neighbors have tried it. Under the Ugandan Prisons Act, a life sentence amounts to 20 years in prison. But as these inmates demand for a second chance, they're also undergoing training in legal matters so that they can in turn offer legal assistance to the thousands of inmates who cannot afford the services of a lawyer.
Well, that story winds up our Weekend at 1 bulletin. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Najma Ismail. Enjoy your afternoon.